Hey there. So the question of today is, why make an album in 2020? And I know it's not 2020 yet, it's still 2019, but it's getting close. So the reason I ask this question, and I want to share the thoughts and questions with you about this, is because in the last 6 months or a year, I've experienced a lot of interesting things in making my YouTube videos, making my music videos. And they've kind of led me to a point now where I absolutely have to make an album. And that's kind of an odd thing to think about today in today's world, especially for someone who's been focusing on YouTube music and making music for for video. As you can see on my channel, a lot of my videos, most of my videos are like films that also incorporate music. And instead of being a piece of music that you then make a film to fit, if you know what I mean. A lot of the stuff that I've done is very video oriented instead of music oriented. At this point, I've actually finished the first track of the album. The reason I spent the last couple of weeks working on the music and not actually making this video and talking to you guys is because I wanted to wait for a particular piece of audio equipment that is actually going to show up tomorrow, and I just got tired of waiting. I can't stand it anymore. I'll go through that with you guys later, and it's a piece of equipment that will help me with audio production stuff, but I'll make a review of that piece of equipment. It's called the Zoom L8. So to the question, why make an album in 2020 instead of just making singles or releasing videos the way I've been releasing videos for about a year and a half now? A few months ago, I had the wonderful opportunity to work on the For Producers video on Andrew's channel, Andrew Huang's channel. It's a really cool series of videos where you make a piece of music and then you and a few other producers react to that piece of music. You can check it out. I'll link below or something. It was a great opportunity because Andrew is very successful here on YouTube, and I knew a lot of people would see it. So I wanted to do the absolute best that I could do in making a piece of music. And I also knew that there wasn't going to be a video component, so I didn't really have to limit myself to making music that looked good. I had to make music that sounded good. Because this was such a cool opportunity, and I knew I'd be kind of going head-to-head against other producers, I poured everything I had into that track. I put maybe 8 hours a day for about 3 weeks, like 5-6 days a week, into making that piece of music. But making those music videos, I tend to really kind of limit myself to what I think will look good in the end result video. As well as often with those projects, I kind of just get tired and move on after maybe a few days or a week or so of working on the music. And as a result, they end up being kind of short. A lot of my music videos in the past have been a minute, which is why the 60-second symphony thing came up, or 2 minutes, maybe 2.5 minutes. And then it's over. And that's cool, but when I'm making music videos, I find myself not trying to make the very best music that I'm capable of making. I find myself trying to make beautiful, pretty good music that fits with video. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if I'm making any sense here. My priority when making those YouTube videos that incorporate music making is to make a good video, not to make the best piece of music I could make. And I've learned a lot while doing this. It's like if you put a time limit on your ability to make a song, or if you say, I gotta make a song in 3 days, only ever spend 3 days on it, and then it's done, and then move on, or whatever. And try to do as many of those as possible. That's a really good practice thing, like learning how to orchestrate and learning how to produce and all that kind of stuff. It's been a really good experience in that way. It's expanded me as a music creator, as a music production person. But it's always kind of limited me in that it's never been something that I've put all my heart and soul into, if you know what I mean, into the creating the music part. This is not to say that the videos that I've made in the past are anything less than, what I wanted them to be. They're very cool. I like them a lot. And I really enjoy making that stuff, and I plan to make a lot more. Especially some of the walking through the woods kinds of videos. I really enjoyed making those. but it's a combination art form. It's film and music. And in that combination, they limit each other a bit. When I made the track for Andrew's Four Producers thing, I realized that I didn't have any limits anymore. I could put everything into that track, and I could give it all that I could. You know, I could go places with it that I would not have been able to go if I just said, okay, I need to stick to these things that you can see. Stick to the sound of a piece of wood. Like that's, if I stick with that, only that sound, and the video of that sound, I need to make it sound similar to that original sound so that it doesn't look completely weird when the video goes along with it. Stuff like that. So that's a slightly musically limiting art form. But when I worked on the song for the Four Producers thing, that wasn't there. That limit wasn't there. The limitation was gone. It was a very inspiring experience, and it was kind of a way to release what I could do musically. Because I don't think I have, in the last like 4 or 5 years, I don't think I've ever pushed my limits as far as how much I could put into a single piece of music, and how much I could perfect a single piece of recorded music. I don't think I've ever pushed those limits in years. And in the last several years, I've gained a lot of skills that I never had before. So my limits have grown, incredibly. I think a lot of people seem to really like that track. And I think the reason a lot of people really liked that track was because I put that much effort into it. Because I went to my limits. I went above and beyond all the normal stuff, all the normal limitations of like, I'm just going to put a week into this, or I'm going to try and keep this something that in this kind of box that I need to keep it in. I went as far as I could go. I think people understood that. I think people felt that, and that's why people were really drawn to it. And so that kind of led me to the point of realizing that the better I make the music, the more I pour of my soul and heart and mind into a piece of music to make it the best piece of music I can, the exponentially more it will affect people, and people will want to hear it and want to share it, and the more it will impact people. And that's kind of the goal here. Like I make music because I love it, because it impacts me, because it makes me feel a certain way when I make something beautiful. But I also put it out there in the world because I want to impact other people. And so I realized, that this impact was exponentially grown by the fact that I put everything I had into that track. And that was really cool. So if it makes me feel fulfilled in the fact that I get to go as far as I possibly can, and it reaches people in a deeper way, a more powerful and more impactful way than so many of my videos do, because it's a more deep and harder to create piece of art, then I thought, well, this kind of hits both areas of what I'm trying to do more powerfully and more deeply than a lot of my recent videos have done. And so I thought, well, if that's the case, then why the hell don't I just go make a whole album of this stuff? So that's why I'm making an album. That's the real reason I'm making an album, because I want to make something that resonates with more people more deeply than what I've done in the past, and I want to do something that makes me feel like I've gone as far as I can go. I've pushed my limits and done something great, as far as what I can do. Now, some of the other benefits that I've thought of as a result of deciding to make an album, and the reason why to make an album in 2020 instead of just videos, is that if you have something that you've put everything that you've got into, and then it's a full thing, it's a full unit, like an album, then you can go through the processes of trying to advertise this album, send it out to reviewers and stuff like that. You have a thing, a product basically, that you can get out there in front of people, even if you're not going to try and make a bunch of money off it, because album sales today are kind of suck. You still have a thing, a core thing that you can put effort into getting to people and getting out there in front of people. I think maybe something I might end up doing with this album is I might end up sending it to places to get reviewed, and I might try and look into how to release in the right way. I don't have any experience with trying to release an album in this way and trying to get it in front of a bunch of people, because I've released a bunch of records in the past, but they've always been, you know, I would go into a studio and record a bunch of music and say, hey, this is really cool. I got a bunch of songs. Let's put them into an album, and then I'll print the album, and I always print it myself and, you know, make a bunch of CDs and stuff. On some gigs when I'd play a tour or whatever, I'd sell some. And that was the end of it. And I never really promoted it or whatever, except for at my own gigs. So I don't really know what the hell to do as far as advertising and getting the word out that I'm going to make a record, or not that I'm going to make a record, but that I have a record, you know, when it's done. And this should be some pretty damn good music because I'm going to put everything I got into it. So it should be worth listening to. I don't really know if this is going to be effective. I don't know if it's going to work, but this is why I'm doing it. And I think it's gotten dark outside. So if anybody's actually listened this far in the video, I'd love to have your thoughts and your opinions, and leave me comments down below about, is this kind of thing interesting to you? Like the reasons why to make an album and the reasons why to do what we do. That would be something that I could make more videos about, different kinds of ideas and concepts and reasons behind what I do. The album itself, I don't have a title yet. The kind of underground working title is Transcendence, because I'm transcending what I've done in the past. I'm going beyond what I've done in the past. So that's kind of the thought behind the whole thing. The first track that I've made is actually called Crystal. And I don't know if it's going to end up on the album in the first one you listen to or not, but that's just the first one I started working on. And the reason it's called Crystal is because I took this glass, and it's a crystal glass, and hit like that, and recorded that sound, sampled that sound, and turned that into the beginning, the whole intro. The next track that I'm going to do is going to be called Wood. That has a pitch to it. It's na, whatever that note is. Na. I can make a melody with that. I can make music with that. I think there'll be a couple of tracks named Steel and Iron. Just, you know, same idea. Maybe some other tracks named Earth and Water. Maybe another one called like Flesh and Blood or something, where I'm just making sounds with like my hands and my voice and stuff, you know, little whatever that sound is. So this is kind of the concept behind this album, taking an individual object and turning it into music. And that gives me a really cool beginning place for every song. I'd love to hear your thoughts in response to anything that I said here. Leave me a comment below. If you enjoyed hearing some of what I'm talking about and thinking about, and you want to hear more of it, or you want to hear more of my music, hit the subscribe button and the little bell for the little ding bell thingy. That's all I had in mind for this conversation. Okay, I'll get back at you guys later. Bye.